Welcome, everybody, to Wednesday Morning Miracle. And I'm back in the present. I was in the future before. It was exhausting being in the future, talking to the past. uh, yeah, I was in Taiwan, and then I was in Hong Kong, 13 hours ahead. So, you know, now that being home, super pumped to be back with the wife ski, back with the babe ski, and in my little studio here. So we're gonna get started we're gonna continue chapter 1, section 5 on wholeness and spirit today. Last week we went through the escape from darkness, and so kind of just summarize a little bit and catch everybody up, whoever is new to this as well, first time joining. This is a Course of Miracles. All right. So I would do this every time. Everyone's like, what is ACIM? Course in Miracles is a self-study kind of psychotherapy type of book scribed in the 70s by Helen Schuckman, and it is Christian in languaging. However, it is a universal spiritual practice, and the goal of it is to find peace in our life, bring peace to all the things that we do. And the course uses our relationships to teach us. And a couple distinctions from just the last sections in chapter 1 is, one, the word error. Okay, error is simply a mistake that we have for the body, like when we mistaken the body, how it appears to be, and we forget who people are in truth. So error is when we see separation, when we see just the body itself, when we see the physical world and we don't see the spiritual world, and we don't see what God created things to be. So for us to awaken, it is to atone for those errors. And when I say atone, again, is to undo the error, undo the illusion of separation, so that we can return our mind to oneness. And in the thinking and in the course calls it the right-mindedness, with oneness in mind, we allow miracles to flow through us and for miracles to show up in our life. And miracles is a perception, a shift in perception from separation to oneness. So all of these things are kind of linked together interchangeably, I guess you could say. So even in the words itself, we can bring oneness to the communication through our words, right? Because a lot of times we do get into conflict and debate over words. All right, so as we get started, we will bring ourselves to the present moment by grounding and calming and silencing our minds a little bit through a closed-eyed process. And so if you would like to just join me and close your eyes and bring your awareness to your breath. You can inhale and exhale. Release any tension that is in your body. Feel the rhythm of your breath, not needing to control it. Just allow and observe and bring awareness to it. Bring awareness to the support of the ground or the chair that you're sitting in. And as you exhale, just release any other tensions that you may have. If there are thoughts going through your mind, just observe it. Become the observer of what the mind is doing and what it's, the chit chats, the noises. Not to judge it, but just to observe it. want you to intentionally bring to your mind a golden bright light. This light represents peace, represents clarity, represents unity. And imagine this light just washing over you, calming your mind, soothing your spirit. And focus on the sensation of this light. Feel its warmth. And how it just wants to expand to other things, to other areas of your mind. Any challenges or conflicts or anxiety, anxiousness, allow the light to wash over that. Here and now in this moment, you can let go of all of your concerns. Just put them aside, be here now. Inviting spirit to guide your listening. Allowing spirit to bring peace to all the conflicts that you may be having. Feel yourself getting more centered and grounded as you just give this moment and every thought over to spirit. And with each breath, feel more peace, feel more relaxed. Let us not be tempted to see the bodies, see the separation. Let us not be tempted to see that over the light in one another. Family members, friends, co-workers, strangers. May we see correctly today. And when we don't, when we find those errors, we can abandon those thoughts immediately. And in that moment, we invite spirit into the space. And you can bring your attention back to your breathing and slowly to bring yourself back to the present. Back to this call. And then whenever you are ready, you can open your eyes. Is the sound coming through my mic okay for everyone? Or is there noise?
kind of a real soft.
Hang on. What about now?
I hear you fine on my end. You're clear. It's good now.
Okay.
I still hear.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
you can hear it.
Hold on. Let me try now. Is it still there? I hear what my mind is considering.
Feels like a hearing
So-
test. Let's stand up if you can hear it. Straighten up if you cannot.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Maybe I'll.
It's not very loud though.
No? Yeah, I get this sometimes. I think there's like some weird frequency interruption in my. Let me turn this off. Maybe that helps. Is it still there?
Yeah, I wonder if that's you or maybe someone else is unmuted. Maybe it's coming
No,
from-
it's probably me. I don't know. My things were disconnected by the cleaners, and I try to put it all back. Oh well. I hear low volume.
Let's make it a meditation.
Let me change it. I'll just take it off of the Scarlet and see if I can just use my cam. What about now? Oh, that was gone before?
It's gone now. Yay!
Okay, can you still hear me clearly though?
I hear you better.
Really?
I agree. Much clearer. Yeah, definitely better now.
All right, I'll just switch everything to that. All right, well, okay. We're just going to get started then. A little technical difficulty, but continue on with chapter 1, section 5, Wholeness and Spirit. And we'll go and review chapter 4 real quick. So it was the escape from darkness. Darkness. Oh, this one in. Darkness is a mind that is unaware of its own holiness and the holiness of other minds. That's where darkness resides. Okay, so when we recognize holiness, darkness is just gone. Because when we're not, when we don't bring our attention, our awareness to all things being in union with each other, we start to view other people and other scenarios that are not a part of us, and that we become fearful of it. All right, so that section starts with the escape from darkness involves 2 stages. First, the recognition that darkness cannot hide. And this step usually entails fear. Second, the recognition that there is nothing that you want to hide, even if you could. So we have to recognize that we cannot hide from such union, this idea of union and love, because it is literally an extension from God. And we can't hide from it. But this brings up fear sometimes because we feel guilty that we're actually hiding something. So recognizing that there is nothing, you can't hide it even if you want it to. You cannot see it, but it will never be absent. And then the second step is the recognition that there is nothing that you want to hide, even if you could. And this is the step that brings you to escape from fear, because you recognize, all right, there is nothing really to hide, okay, in the first place. And this is accomplished through forgiveness. And the distinction of forgiveness is going to be shared throughout the rest of the course. All right, and as we go into wholeness now in spirit, this section brings together how spirit brings to your mind wholeness. Okay, and recognizing that you are in this state forever. Okay, we can distract our mind because we allow our mind to serve a different master, which the course we call the ego, all right, or this separated self. So our mind, we cannot serve two masters. So we always bring up that the vision of one costs you the vision of the other. All right, so I'll just start the reading and then we'll kind of go into it from there. The miracle is much like the body in that both are learning aids for facilitating a state in which they become unnecessary. When spirit's original state of direct communication is reached, neither the body nor the miracle serves any purpose. While you believe you are a body, however, you can choose between loveless and miraculous channels of expression. You can make an empty shell, but you cannot express nothing at all. You can wait, delay, paralyze yourself, or reduce your creativity almost to nothing, but you cannot abolish it. You can destroy your medium of communication, but not your potential. You did not create yourself. So this whole paragraph right here is basically bringing you to showing you who you really are, and you cannot hide it. You are the light of the world. You are an extension of God's love. And even if you don't see it, and you can diminish this body all the way and even destroy this body, but you cannot destroy your potential, which is where you've always been, what you were created to be. You can't destroy that even if you wanted to. So this actually brings it brings hope for all of us and for everyone, that no matter what we do, we're only looking at the shell of something. Okay, the error is that we see the physical body. And all we have to do is correct the error. Nothing needs to be punished. You see, nothing deems punishing. You aren't capable, and you aren't capable of making the judgment to punish. So when we think about the relationships that we hold and how vicious we are actually with our brothers and sisters, sometimes we verbally, physically become vicious, but even in our thoughts, we are vicious towards an illusion. We are vicious towards an error in our thinking because we see the body of somebody, we see the actions, we see the words. We are not seeing holiness in the person. And the only way we can actually find holiness in ourselves is if we look through the errors that we have. If we're willing to abandon those things. The basic decision of the miracle-minded is not to wait on time any longer than is necessary. Time can waste as well as be wasted. The miracle worker therefore accepts the time control factor gladly. He recognizes that every collapse of time brings everyone closer to the ultimate release from time, in which the Son and the Father are one. Equality does not imply equality now. When everyone recognizes that he has everything, individual contributions to the sonship will no longer be necessary. See, the course will continue to bring a reminder to us that all the things that we have here now, our body, the Holy Spirit, miracles, Jesus, each other, it all becomes unnecessary at some point. Right? So there's no need to cling on to anything. There's no need to make special of anything either. Because all are just learning devices. When we can perceive things correctly, every person, when they trigger us, learning device. My body getting sick, learning device. Right? All the things, people stealing from me, whatever is happening in your life, learning devices. And when we can recognize that all learning devices will be put down at some point, it's for all of us. And when every child, when every separated body recognizes that we have no lack, that we have everything, there won't even be a need for individual contributions in the world. Because there's no need for it. Nobody needs your contribution because everybody has everything. And then the mind returns and joins to one. There is no problems anymore. There's no lack. Which there was never any lack. There's only a perceive of lack right now. There's really two states in which our mind is in. We're either in the state that is all an illusion. Okay, and I know I keep using this word illusion, and sometimes we're like, wait, but things are actually happening. It's not an illusion. But there is a spirit behind there's a let's call it like there like machines or there's a play that is happening behind the scene of everything. And that's spirit playing it all out. Spirit is the puppet master of it all. And that's why I made a post. You know, when I went back to Taiwan and my family, I talked a little bit about my family in, you know, conflict with each other and literally over this inheritance dispute for 7 years. Like, people aren't talking to each other. When they live next to each other, they're not talking to each other. And my cousins aren't talking to each other. And there's just a lot of hostility. You know, wherever I went, it was like people trying to get me on their side, trying to be right about it. I'm like, okay, great. You know, I wanted to fix it. Like, I'm like, I can be the person to fix it. If you all can just think like this, then it will be fixed. I have an illusion that I need to fix an illusion is what's happening. All I need to do is trust that it's divinely orchestrated. You know, and it's supposed to play out that way. And all I can do is love them no matter what. Not to judge somebody doing it wrong, because that's looking at the physical. You know, and these calls remind me of that, and reading the course every day, it reminds me of that, because no matter what, we're all going to do it. We're all going to think we can fix something, and if somebody just thought it this way, then it'd be better. You know, and I was like, you know, I'm going to write a letter to my family, and I'm going to bring everybody to this, and writing the letter to make it better, it's not, there's no right or wrong about doing that, but it's the way and the intention in which I was doing. Where I have to realize that I was trying to fix and I write this letter, or I'm just loving and write this letter. Or there's a distinction that happens in our mind. But we're so unaware of it. Like, our come from is so, we think that we're doing one thing when we have to really just know that there is a judgment behind it. And we have to catch those things. This is what the Course says. We have to be vigilant about the errors in our own mind. That there is something to fix, like there was a lack in my family or something that's happening, when there's really not. So, you know, it's either I'm in the state of recognizing there's nothing to fix, that everything is perfect, and I accept it that way, or I think there's something to fix, and I create a lot of turmoil and conflict inside myself. One gives me peace because I trust, and one takes peace away. Even if I still seem very peaceful, that little bit of disturbance in my mind is one little push, one word, one dispute away from like going over the edge, going to war with somebody. And I recognize I was doing that at times when someone would say something about the other side and I would go into a debate with them. And I'm like, oh my God, here I go. And I would catch myself and I would just stop. You know, I don't know what the solution really is, but I know that peace of mind is what I'm going for. I don't need to be right about my family and how they should behave and what is a good family, what is a healthy family. You know, because I had fears that what was happening from my aunts and uncles was going to influence and impact my generation of cousins. And because I had that fear, that's what I saw. And then it became a whole problem. So, just kind of like an example, my like life example. I always want to share that in there. So if you can relate to it somewhere in your life, that'd be great. If not, oh well, I just carry on reading. All right. When the atonement has been completed, all talents will be shared by all the sons of God. God is not partial. All his children have his total love, and all his gifts are given freely to everyone alike. Except ye become as little children, means that unless you fully recognize your complete dependence on God, you cannot know the real power of the Son in the true relationship with the Father. The specialness of God's Son does not stem from exclusion, but from inclusion. All my brothers are special. If they believe they are deprived of anything, their perception becomes distorted. So my perception became distorted, right? Because I thought there was something that my family could be that, other than the way it was. When this occurs, the whole family of God or the sonship is impaired in its relationships. Ultimately, every member of the family of God must return. The miracle calls him to return because it blesses and honors him, even though he may be absent in spirit. God is not mocked, is not a warning, but a reassurance. God would be mocked if any of his creations lacked holiness. The creation is whole, and the mark of wholeness is holiness. Miracles are affirmations of the sonship, which is a state of completion and abundance. Again, the course right now is introducing what wholeness looks like. Right? We don't have to even agree or grasp it right now. We just have to know there is a state in which nothing is in disagreement with each other. Okay, there is a state where the truth of everyone, of spirit, shines through. That there's no conflict. Whatever is true is eternal. So remember, in the beginning of the course, we made a distinction of truth, knowledge, and those are things that are eternal and never changes. Whatever is true is eternal and cannot change or be changed. Spirit is therefore unalterable because it is already perfect, but the mind can elect what it chooses to serve. The only limit put on its choice is that it cannot serve two masters. If it elects to do so, the mind can become the medium in which spirit creates along the line of its own creation. If it does not freely elect to do so, it retains its creative potential, but places it under tyrannous rather than authoritative control. Okay, so it's going to make a distinction here of tyranny versus authority. As a result, it imprisons, because such are the dictates of tyrants. To change your mind means to place it at the disposal of true authority. And here in this section, it writes authority with a capital A. Authority as in the divine, the spirit that operates through everything. God, right? God making everything, designed it perfectly as is. And I always bring up a seed turns into a flower with doesn't need someone to tell it what to do, regardless of the resistance of the flower itself. It will turn into what it's going to be. And us human beings are kind of like that. It's the same. We're like a seed that is planted. We are going to grow into a flower, but along the way we resist it. We're like, no, I don't want to be a flower. And we keep fighting it, but you're gonna be, right? So it doesn't matter how much resistance there is. The only thing that matters is you having peace of mind as you're blooming into the flower. So as the insanity of humans is that we are perfect beings, full extensions of God, but we resist it and we want to be this separate body that, holds on to all the material things in the world. That is our challenge. And we look for things in the physical world to try to fix or to justify that this body is real. Right? It justifies. It's kind of like a seed like growing into a flower, and it's like, nope, I want to be a bird. Right? It's like the seed's growing into flowers. No, I want to be a bird. And it starts to look for all the different things because it believes it's going to be a bird. It looks for all the different evidences why it's going to be a bird. And that's insanity. Okay, so that's what the Course says is insane. It's like, dude, you are spirit. You think you're in a body. And you think you're separate from all other beings and all other things, but you are not. All right, so that's the best I can kind of make a metaphor out of our insane minds. The miracle is a sign that the mind has chosen to be led by me in Christ's service. The abundance of Christ is a natural result of choosing to follow him. All shallow roots must be uprooted because they are not deep enough to sustain you. Shallow roots, as in all the materials of this world. Okay, that includes cars, money, the special relationships that we have, people in general. They're not deep enough to sustain you. That's why they keep failing. You make God of those things and they keep failing you. They're false idols. They tell you it's going to bring you happiness. If I only got $1 million, I'll definitely be happy. And it's more of the same. Right? It just the $1 million actually magnified the unhappiness. Right? So because it's not enough to sustain you. The illusion that shallow roots can be deepened and thus made to hold is one of the distortions on which the reverse of the golden rule rests. As these false underpinnings are given up, the equilibrium is temporarily experienced as unstable. However, nothing is less stable than an upside-down orientation. Nor can anything that holds it upside down be conductive to increase the stability. Okay, so that it's kind of like a confusing line, but it's saying that the world we have right now is totally upside down from the heaven world. The world is upside down. Anything that holds the world upside down like this is unstable. That's why there is nothing that we can find in physical things in this world that brings us the lasting peace, the eternal peace, the peace that doesn't change. We're like, when I get married or if I find my significant other, then I'll have peace. And then we find it and we don't find peace. If I just had enough money to buy this Ferrari, then I will be happy and be at peace, and we buy it and then we get tired of it and we still talk shit about it and then we still have, road rage and we still yell at our friends and our sisters and our brothers and our family and all that. That's what the Course says. These are the upside down things that's holding your illusion of what peace looks like. But when we flip it back right side up and we start seeing, the divine orchestration and everything, we see the operation behind it, behind all this facade, this world that we see. And the more we bring our minds to that, the more we experience miracles because our mind is miracle ready. And every time we experience a miracle, a shift from fear to love, it reinforces that for us. We become more convinced that spirit is true. And that's why so many of us have experienced it. And we are starting to believe that it's true. As a collective in our world, the woo-woo is winning for sure. Or it's on its way, right? There's a lot of people in all different spaces that believe energy is it impacts everything that we do. Energy. What is energy? We can't grab it. We can't touch it. But energy influences, positive mindset influences. Like, these are not tangible physical things that you grab. Quantum physics showing that physics that we, as we know it, is not true. So where do we find our salvation? That's the question. And next week's section is really all recording. Yes, this is being recorded through YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So it is being recorded. But thank you. All right, so I'll take a pause here. I know we just kind of went through that section really quick. Does anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts? About any other stuff that's going on in your life that you would like to share?
Alex, I do have a question or something I struggle with, because I can relate with the one wanting to fix things and have everybody be at peace. And when is there ever a time, because I feel like sometimes it's more like a compelling, not voice, but like something that's driven outside of me to say or do something, maybe write that letter, whatever it is. Like, is it possible that some of these behaviors that we do can be an atonement? Like, is that even a possibility? I mean, I'm just trying to, I guess, make sense of it, because I do find myself doing that. And so I'm just trying to question, like, am I really doing it because of the need to fix it, or is it because I want to see peace? I don't know. I really don't know.
So the reason, only you will know, okay? Nothing we do really doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Remember, we're playing all in the physical illusion realm. Regardless of what you do, you can't actually do wrong to what is already whole. This is what the Course is saying, right? This whole section about wholeness is there is nothing that is out of accord with what Spirit wants to happen. So even if you did or you didn't do, it doesn't really make a big difference. It may seem to make a difference, but the only thing you have to look at is, do I have peace doing it? And you can find it by, go ahead, do it. Write the letter and see if you create more conflict or you create more peace. Can you write a letter and then leave it as is? Can you give, and just as in the giving of that letter, you already received the healing? Or do you need an affirmation or a result from that letter? If you do, then you've written it with the wrong mind, wrong perspective. And here's the thing, it goes from moment to moment. So even if you wrote the letter and initially with the wrong perspective, as you recognize that error, you can switch it. Even though the letter has already been written, you can switch the intention and shift it in this moment for yourself. This is why the Course says it's a moment-to-moment practice that we do. And the reason why we even need to practice it is because we don't fully understand it yet. When you fully understand something, you don't need to practice it anymore. Like, I know 2 + 2 is 4. I do not need to practice every day 2 + 2. See, the practices that we actually have is because we don't fully understand it. That's why we need to keep practicing it. We need to do gratitude things every day because we don't really grasp gratitude. We don't have it. Because we lose it and then we remember it, and then we lose it, we remember it. If you fully understood that, you wouldn't need to practice it anymore. All right, so that is, and we will need to, in terms of our right and wrong minded thinking, that's a practice. And then the Course says it will be a practice until you put this body to rest, until you put this learning device down. So we don't ever need to think, oh my God, I need to just be in a state of right-minded, correct mind forever. The forgetting is part of the curriculum. And as we allow ourselves to forgive and forget, we can forgive ourselves for forgetting, and we can not judge ourselves for forgetting. And then in turn, that automatically heals your relationships to other people. Because what you do for you, you will do for others. What you do for others, you will do for you. And when that happens, like when you have those moments where you're like, okay, I'm in the right mind, and then miracles show up because from your mind you extend that outwards, and all of a sudden someone becomes more loving, more accepting, understands your viewpoint. You're like, oh, I must be in the right mind. Because the oneness is happening right now. And then that strengthens that behavior. Because we're so unaware of these things, we don't strengthen those behaviors. We let the world dictate how we respond. So I think in terms of wanting to fix, it's still going to come down to you knowing where is the come from of you wanting to fix that. Before you want to fix anything, there is nothing to fix. And if you see, oh, there's nothing to fix, do you still want to write this letter? Do you still want to go do whatever it is that you're going to do? Does that kind of support or help? The next time that you see something that needs to be fixed, be like, no, God is playing this out exactly how it's supposed to. Why is it showing up for me? What am I supposed to learn from it? Not what they need to be doing. Everything that shows up for us when viewed correctly is an opportunity to choose again, especially if we are triggered or we don't see, wholeness and we see the lack. Every time that happens and that shows up, it's for you only to choose again, to see it again. Oh my God, I see this behavior right here and I see it as dumb or stupid or whatever. Okay, let me shift that in my thinking. Because all that is happening is we are being shown how resilient we are. How capable are we to love? How deep is our ability to understand and show compassion? How much patience we actually have. Like when we recognize that this is all I'm doing is cultivating those attributes in me. If I know that I'm cultivating understanding, compassion, love, generosity, kindness, if I know that that's what I'm doing, then every single person is designed to help me do that better. So there is no lack there. They're actually supplying. Their behavior that seemed like a lack is actually a supply for me. And then from that space, do I even need to do anything about it, or do I just say thank you? All right. Go ahead, Matt.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Grateful to be here. I had a question about the comments or, the quote in the scripture that all are special. And, while I feel that like in my soul, and I know that to be true, I've brought that up in debate before with people who will use the logic that if everything is something, then nothing is something. And so I was just wondering if you or anyone else had some input on that, like if everyone is special, then no one is special. If everything is divine, then nothing is divine. And while I disagree with that argument, I cannot logically get it out of my head. And I was just, wondering if anyone had any input to help me with that.
Yeah, so there is an idea about the word special. What's that mean? What if you can make nothing and special the same thing? Right, like that's the healing is the separation of those two things. Like God is nothing, God is everything. Oh, what's the conflict about that? Right. I actually Adam actually sent me this funny video about nothing. Like people believe in nothing. It's like there is nothing. Right. And it was funny because like, okay, well, so you don't believe in nothing. What happens when you die? It's like, well, nothing. So you mean you go back to your original source of nothing. Right. It's like nothing turns into nothing. Isn't that God? Isn't that spirit? Isn't something? Right? Something is turning into something. Nothing's turning into nothing. It's just the same order. The order is still the same. And when we say in this section, and the course specifically does this, I think it's really interesting because it talks about special relationships versus holy relationships, and then it uses the word special here, that the specialness of God's Son does not stem from exclusion, but from inclusion. So I guess we can replace this special word right here with uniqueness. The uniqueness, or maybe even the sameness. We got to look beyond the words, right? That's the problem. We get into debates over words all the time. What is the spirit behind those words? The Course actually says, make everything that you deem valuable, like what you believe to be valuable, needs to be undone. Every single thing. Because when nothing is valuable, all things become valuable. When nothing is holy, all things become holy. Because you're not making special of anything anymore. And you see that it is possible that God can love all things all the time. Total love. It's not partial. All his children will have his total love. All creation will have his total love. That total love could be everything, or that total love could be nothing. But it's equal. That's what the Course is saying. And in the sections before this, it talked about all, like AWE. No brother should have all of another brother because we are equal, including Jesus. Jesus is an older brother that has let go of all the physical. But still, all is not given, does not need to be from brother to brother. All does not need to happen from one special thing to another. So it is an interesting topic. You know, I can put my perspective on it, but, you know, I think ultimately for you would be, what does peace look like in that conversation? What's the conflict about? Right? And that's why the course actually in the workbook right now where I'm at is like, you know, the earlier lessons is that these things don't mean anything. Right? All the things that I see don't mean anything. But it's not that it doesn't mean anything, because later it says God did not create a meaningless world. It does not mean what you think it means, is what it's trying to tell you. Right? This cup, this glass right here does not mean anything. What do you mean? Because and then also it goes into, I don't see things as it is now. I don't see anything or anyone as it is now. I see it all as a past picture of what I saw it as. So the beginning of the course is all about the releasing of the mind, the practice of this releasing of all the things that you have. So even in this question that you have, Matt, it brings up an interesting part of what you get to release or undo about the confusion of it, the conflict about it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Like we can't, to debate over these words, there will never be an end to it. And if there's no end to it, there's no real understanding of it. You know, we could debate this all day, and there will be no end to it, because we're debating these words that were made up to describe things in the physical world, which means they already fall twofold short from spirit. It's like words are me looking at you, pointing at the moon and trying to describe the moon. And all I see is you pointing up. And I'm trying to describe the moon looking at you. That's words. So if we debate over that, it could be anything, right? Like if me, Fraser, and everybody here is looking at you, pointing at the moon, and we're trying to describe the moon, based on where we're standing around you, we're going to be debating something forever. Hence, the course is going to talk about the laws of chaos. The laws of chaos later on in the course is literally all of us standing, looking at something from a different perspective and trying to debate the truth. We're all trying to debate the moon, but we're just looking at you pointing at the moon. And we're trying to describe the moon, but we're just describing you pointing from a different place. So hopefully, and please, anybody else, you guys can feel free to chime in. What's your thoughts on it? Right. Go ahead, Fraser.
I actually really love this conversation because it reminds me of the mathematical side of things, right? Most people say, what is zero? Zero has no value. In actuality, it's an integer, and an integer has both a negative and a positive side to it. So if you look at it that way, I mean, there's multitudes of ways of looking at nothing.
Mm-hmm. And now it just comes down for you, like, what's going to bring you peace? Which one brings you peace? If it brings you peace, then be with it. But if it causes you to get into a conflict and debate with somebody, then the shift gets to happen. Right? It's just, all right, God, show me a different way to look at it. That's it. Right? We don't even need to understand it. We don't need to be right about it. We just say, hey, God, show me a different way to look at my confusion right now, my conflict. Zero equals infinite. Does it? Or it equals nothing. We can debate this all day. But that's the course says that is a waste of time. That is not the proper use of time to be debating over what is zero. And that is what we do. As human beings, we debate over this stuff all the time. And it's a waste of time. And at some point, you're going to debate so much and you're going to be like, I don't even care. You could be right. Why didn't we just start with that? Why don't we just start with yeah, sure, you could be right about it. And then I'm over it. And then now I can go focus on spirit and faith and, finding sane mind, miracle mind. But instead, we spend so much time debating over this zero. Is zero infinite or is zero nothing? Is zero infinite? Is it nothing? Then we go around trying to recruit allies, right? We just start talking about this to everybody. And you guys know, I'm talking about zeros, but you guys know what it is that I'm talking about. It's all the stuff that we go around talking about that has nothing to do with anything. It's just wasting time. Right? Yeah, great topic. Great questions. Next section is actually the illusion of needs, which is funny. So it actually says, you who want peace can find it only by complete forgiveness, or the complete of letting go of wanting to be right about that. You have to completely let go of the value you give to being right about the zero. If you want peace. But if you don't want peace, go continue the debate. Spirit has infinite patience, and it's like just watching us. It's a comedy. All right, Brooke. You're great. Thanks for being here.
Mwah. Bye, babe.
Bye. Vaccine, no vaccine. Yeah, there you go. That could go on. And we all got something that will trigger us. Okay, we all got it. It's about something. We have to be vigilant in finding what that is, because it will come up. People will be around you and they will bring that trigger up for you. We want to actually look for it. And when we find it, we're like, this person triggered the heck out of me. We're like, oh my God, thank you so much. I've been looking for you to show me this thing the whole time. See how that is just a total shift in the mind. And it's extremely, extremely powerful for our own peace of mind when we use our learning devices correctly. Okay, what else? Go ahead, Fraser.
Speaking of triggered, I got that the other day, and actually I had to stop and laugh because I realized that what was triggering me isn't serving me, and I now know that I need to make some changes in my business because of it. So it's a good thing.
Okay. Awesome. Well, if you need any support along the way, let me know. A Year of Miracles, also an amazing book by Marianne Williamson. So I'll just read this. Day 23. Today I recognize the miracle in all things. How often do I not notice the miracles all around me, or honor all the kindness shown me, or allow myself to fully embrace the good that's in my life? Today I remember that every day is precious. Every heart carries within it the Spirit of God, and every event contains a platform for a miracle. May I not be blind today to the awesomeness of life. May the days be gone when I took for granted all the blessings in my life. May my eyes be open that I may see more beauty. May my ears be open that I may hear more truth. May my spirit be open that I might feel the tender touch of God. Today I see through a different set of eyes that I will recognize the miracles all around. I see the sparkle of light that surrounds all things and yearning for love that exists in everyone. I see the innocence beyond all guilt and the love beyond all fear. And thus I am reborn into the truth of who I am. May I not be blind today to the awesomeness of life. That's going to be my quote of the day. So, yeah, today may I recognize the miracle in all things. You know? All right, what else? Who else? Anybody from any of the social medias can also chime in. I can read the comments, I think, some. Not Facebook, though. Facebook won't let me. But Instagram, whoever else is on, I see there's some people here. Or anybody in Zoom. About...
Hey, Alex.
Yes. Hey.
I had a question. It's based on the one we covered today.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts off, it says, whatever is true is eternal and cannot be changed or cannot change or be changed. Spirit is therefore unalterable because it is already perfect, but the mind can elect what it chooses to serve. So my question is really based on the first one, because whatever is true is eternal and cannot change or be changed, which means that since the body, I was asking myself, whatever is true is eternal, which the only thing that is eternal is love, God. So does that mean that literally everything in this 3D reality, our body, these things, these materials, everything in this world is untrue?
Yeah, so everything in this world, that's why I keep calling it the illusion or the dream.
Mm.
Think about it. You're just in a dream. Okay, the other day I actually had a dream about one of my best friends growing up. We used to get really competitive playing basketball, and so there was one time we were playing pickup basketball, and if we ever play on separate teams, we play very intense against each other, even though we're best friends. So, I was draining my shots. He was bodying people, and he's bigger and whatever. And then at one point, it just got like the game was close, and then he got fouled, and he got pissed, and he shoved me with the ball. Then I took the ball, I chucked it at his head, and we got into a fist fight right on the court. All right, so from that, I had a dream the other night that was constantly him like pushing my buttons about things, right? And then at the end, we got into a fist fight. Like there was me constantly being like, letting it go, and then we got into a fist fight again. And I had a dream about it literally 2 nights ago. See, that's a dream world, but I woke up actually angry. Like I wanted to actually get into a fight with him. I saw him in that light when I woke up of this guy that pissed me off, because the people that are really close to you, they can piss you off very easily. All they have to do is poke at something of what you're not, right? You're not that, and then they can poke at it because they know, and then So anyways, that's what the Course says. This is like a dream world. Okay. Even though we don't really see that, like we wake up and we're like, okay, we're in this world, but it is really all a dream world because nothing is consistent. The Course is trying to show you the only things that are consistent, eternal, does not change, and can't be changed. That is what you have to strive to see. Because everything else is unreliable. It's not consistent. It's sitting in an upside down world. So it says right here, the mind can elect which world it wants to see, though. So you actually have the ability to elect to participate in this dream world or know that, wow, that was a dream and that was crazy. I woke up, I was like, dude, it's crazy, but I actually still had the feeling of anger in me. Now I can choose, is the dream real or is me knowing that it was a dream that's real? And then now to take it even further is this kind of our awakened state a dream? And the spiritual world is a dream? Or is the spirit world real? And the Course says the only way we can tell is, does it ever change? And that will be the way to tell. And the Course continues to point out all the different ways in which we have errors about our brothers and sisters, the way we look at different scenarios and situations that happen in our life that trigger us. So, the more you practice, though, the more you will see it. But this is a true practice.
So how do we see a situation like a fight and see what's really true and eternal? Or if we see something on the news, like the war is going on, and how do we see the truth in that? This is just it was a struggle for me, and I no longer want it to be. I want to see the truth in everything and only the love. But sometimes it may be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I see what's really true?
What you're looking for is what's true in you, not in the world. You're not going to find the truth in the world. The war is going to happen. But what would be true is like projection makes perception. The more, where am I holding war, or where am I having warring thoughts that this is an extension? That even only happens because of thoughts like this. So what is the true way to look at it that will end this conflict and this war? And if it ends for me, this is why the Course says one healed relationship or every healed thought heals generations, heals thousands of years. Because time is also part of that illusion. Now, time is a device. Time is a device. You can waste it. You can not waste it. Whatever you want to do it. Spirit's just waiting for it. So. Anything else, anybody? Again, at the end of these conversations and these calls and studying the course, it's not about having full understanding of it. All that you're supposed to get out of the course and these calls is that you become more in tune with your teacher, with God. You become closer to God. You become closer to the spirit that you know is the guiding voice that speaks the truth. Because we know when we're around truth and when we hear truth, it literally resonates. It vibrates. We vibrate with it, and that's why we can resonate with it, because it is our true nature. And there are videos when people are speaking and they're in that frequency of truth. There are books and there are things that people read, and people can say it all. Like, it could be somebody that is completely like the furthest away from having any sort of connection to God or whatever, and it still shows up. You can still hear it and see it sometimes. Because you can be far away from it, but you can never fully like kill it. It's always there. Every person, the person doing the most horrendous things in the world, there are truth that will come out of their mouth too. And in their action, there is also truth too. But you have to have truth on your mind to be able to see that. So ultimately is for you to find your teacher that is going to help you. When you listen and follow this teacher, it will tell you where truth is. That's why a lot of the times, like, questions are asked me, I'm like, I don't really know. I don't know it. Ask God. Ask Spirit to tell you. You know, but I know I can point out where conflict resides because I see it all the time in myself. All right, so hey, Claudia.
Hello, brother. Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome back.
You look very divine and goddess-like this morning.
So much. Thank you. What a powerful conversation. I'm still being with what you just shared about what's true and what doesn't change.
Yeah. We know it. We know it. Whenever that comes, like, it's almost like you burst out laughing because you're like, wow, that is so true. You know, when we're there, we just know it. We can't do anything besides nod our head and laugh at it because we just know. Right? And everyone has it. Everybody's got it. And that's what you have to see. If you can choose to see people like they all got it, that's what the Course says. You're undoing the errors of your own mind when you can see in everybody that they can also see the truth, and that the same Holy Spirit that operates and flows through you also flows through them, and that God is doing all the work. And from there's nothing for us to do. I don't need to write a letter. I don't need to say nothing. And there goes one of the most challenging things for people to grasp in the Course is I need do nothing. Like, oh, shit. But I've done so many things already. How do I undo those things? Doesn't matter, because you did a bunch of things in dream, which is nothing. Nothing was done. So you can let yourself off the hook for all the things that you did that you're like, shit, I wish I could undo. It doesn't matter. It's just about right now. Can you find peace in it? So, great. We got a little more time. Go ahead, Fraser.
So I was in the office to one of the companies that I do work for, and I wish I had done that do nothing, say nothing, because I felt like I had to explain when I really didn't. What happened was I had a rate change on my hourly, and doing this 6,000 square foot home, and the lady was upset. And I said, I was like, I had to, because everyone else is way above me at rates, and with the cost of living, it had to happen. And she was like, just like, well, we've done so much for you. And I kind of had to, like, I was like, how have you done so much for me? I'm doing all this work for you at a way lower cost, rather than just going and saying nothing and doing nothing. I just had to, like, it just came out, and I'm like, really? So yeah, this is kind of it was an eye opener for me that the change that I need to make in my business is that I need to find a new customer, basically, because I don't feel that this relationship is serving me in the positive way anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's what the Course, or Marianne, said earlier, is you have to be able to see that she did serve you, right? Because now you're just offing that, and it's going to reinforce the fact that later on, when you're doing relationship with people, you're going to think you're serving them, and they're going to think they're serving you. And because you're not seeing their service, this is what she said, may I honor all the kindness shown to me, and notice all the miracles around me, right? May I see all the blessings that is around me and how awesome all these things are. But what we do in relationship, especially when we worked with somebody long enough, we forget that they're serving us, right? That they're giving to us, that they're giving us opportunities, and things have happened because of the relationships you have with them. But we're like, well, I'm the one that's sacrificing all the time, right? And it becomes that. And this happens in intimate relationships the most, right? It goes from, in the beginning, I'm willing to sacrifice, do these things. And then as your partner is doing something, it's like, well, that becomes less. That's taken for granted. But what I do, because I'm sacrificing, that becomes bigger. So your sacrifice becomes bigger than what they're doing. And they feel the same way. And then nobody feels appreciated. Nobody feels seen. And here's the center of this problem, of any relationship conflicts, right? It's actually the same thing that's happening in my family with the whole inheritance thing. Everyone thinks they contributed more, and nobody sees the other side's contribution.
What's happening, though, is the contract that was agreed upon isn't being met. So, like, I haven't been paid in over a month, and that's
a different story, right? So yeah. That's more like, you got to do your agreements. Like, hey, before I continue any more work, see, when you say, oh, I need to make a change, that's it, done, whatever, nothing got fixed. You still didn't get your money, right? You just kind of, now you're going to leave with resentments. The only way for that to change is actually to show love and show appreciation and gratitude. And because you show it, you instill it in somebody, and you call it forth in them. And everybody wants to do good. See, that's what you have to see. They want to honor that contract. They want to do good, because then they're going to carry that with themselves, right? Everybody is a hero in their own life, in their own journey. So they want to do good. They want to say they've done good. They want to be able to sleep at night, look in the mirror, and be proud. But if you make it hard for them, they'll just be like, nah, he was an asshole, so I'm good not doing it. But if you were kind and you said kind things and showed a lot of gratitude, for them to do that, it's going to be hard for them to look in the mirror. And even if they continue to do it, it's not up to you to teach them at this point. then it's like, okay, well, if we're not gonna honor this agreement, then let me know when we can honor the agreement, and then we can reestablish this relationship. You see, you left it neutral. You leave the ball in their court, but if you take the ball in your court and you're like, screw this, and you break the tennis racket and then you just bounce, then that's the end of it, right? And then you leave with resentment, and the next time you can't trust the next person, and it's gonna close all sorts of doors for you then.
Yeah, there's no I can't walk away at this point. It's it would ruin my company completely if I walked away right now.
Okay.
It's too much money on the table.
All right, so then it's about how do you now you actually have to remedy this relationship, and what's the best way to do it? Only love is real. And if they can see, and you got to see them in the truth, and the only way to do it is you bring the kindness forth from your mind towards them. All right, that's the only way to do it, because then at the end of the day, you left it on the table, and you did right by yourself, by your own kindness and stuff, right? Not to say if it was hurting you constantly, then walk away, find another opportunity. Because
it is a consistent thing that's been happening over this entire this year. It's been consistently this way, and it's it's getting a little old.
Yeah, but the most powerful place for you to stand is you need to take, and I'm not saying you have to do this or what, but if you to own your power is how were you the source of that relationship to be that way, right? And then so now you have the power back because you can do something about it. But if you keep going that it's them, then it's just going to keep going, right? But I'm not saying that there's a one right thing or wrong thing to do. But feel in your own heart how what works, right? What's going to bring peace? What will be you extending love? Let's just call it that, and we'll leave it at that. If you can just say, this is what me extending love looks like, and you can sleep at night with it, then go for it. All right, awesome. All right, Yusuf, go ahead.
This is actually for Fraser. I don't know what it's like to be in your situation or what the full story is. I just know that lately I've had a situation, Johnson and I have had a situation with our Airbnb host, and she's been, and my projection that she's been a little bit difficult. So this lesson has been really helpful for me. It's lesson 24 from the workbook. It says, I do not perceive my own best interests. Number one, in no situation that arises do you realize the outcome that would make you happy. Therefore, you have no guide to appropriate action and no way of judging the result. What you do is determined by your perception of the situation, and that perception is wrong. They're straight up calling us out. I love that the Course does that, but it is triggering. It was triggering for me. It is inevitable, then, that you will not serve your own best interests, yet they are your only goal in any situation which is correctly perceived. Otherwise, you will not recognize what they are. If you realize that you do not perceive your own best interests, you could be taught what they are. But in the presence of your conviction that you do know what they are, you cannot learn. The idea for today is a step toward opening your mind so that learning can begin. The exercises for today require much more honesty than you are accustomed to using. And then I'm not going to read the rest, but the exercises in the situation involving my landlord, I would like for her to give us a discount. Basically, I would like blank to happen and blank to happen and blank to happen, and instead to just keep going. But I do not perceive my own best interest in this situation. So I just offer this to you, Fraser, because it's been helping me. I don't know if it could help you, but even in the most difficult of situations like my father today, I realized that this one lesson has been so grand for me that I thought I would share it. So I hope that does offer some value to you.
Yeah. That is a powerful lesson, because the part in the exercise that you didn't read is that if you take that, okay, in this situation, I would like this to happen, and you take it to all the different areas of your life. Okay, so you're like, okay, in my relationship with Jaslyn, this is what I want to happen. And then in my relationship with Airbnb, this is what I want to happen. In my relationship, in my investments, this is what I want to happen. And when you have all of those things put together, you're going to find that all of those things actually end up having conflicts with each other. Like, you'll start to find out, oh my God, I really don't even know what I want, because I actually just want to be right. But want to be right, it doesn't lead me to happiness. But I'd say I want to be happy here, but I want to be right here. You know, and those two things are incongruent. So what do I really want? Right? I actually don't even know what I want. Right? Certain times I want to be right. Other times I want to be happy. But if I'm right, then I can't be happy. In my argument with my wife, if I want to be right now, happiness is out the door and peace is out the door. All right? So you put all those things together, you're going to realize that you want a whole bunch of different things, and all of those things are part of that. It can change, and it's changeable, and it's not part of that eternal truth. Now, if you say what I want is what God wants, now those things will all start to be in alignment with each other. Because it's just, I don't know. I don't really know what I want. Right? And I want to have peace. God, show me how to do it. I want more spirit in my life. And then you may be able to find some congruencies in the things that you want. Because if you want different things, they're going to conflict with each other. So in that exercise, it actually tells you just go all out and do a whole bunch of different things, and then just to find, oh my God, wow, they're in conflict with each other. Yeah. So, yeah, pretty profound. Good lesson. And what was it, 24, 25?
Yeah, 24.
Yeah. So there you go, Fraser. Take just, before you go into making any conversations or, those things with this person, I would just get grounded into it. Whatever that looks like. Read something from the course, find some inspirational things online that will ground you into right thinking. That love is what I want, So what would that look like for you? Okay. Well, we got a couple more minutes here. Does anybody else want to share anything? Oh my God, there is 23 messages in the chat. What am I missing here? I love it so much. I can't read, but a lot of things. All right. Well, shall we close out with another one of Marianne's quotes? That's some deep surrendering. Okay. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. 164. I don't ask God to change my circumstances, but to change who I am within them. Wow. Look how perfect that is. Day 164. I'll read that. I don't ask God to change my circumstances, but to change who I am within them. We're all assigned a piece of the garden, a corner of the universe that is ours to transform. My corner of the universe is my own life, my relationships, my home, my work, my circumstances, exactly as they are. I don't ask God to change my circumstances, but to change who I am within them. May I tend every part of my garden with love, that it may grow to be the most beautiful manifestation of all that is good, holy, and true. Dear God, make me the person you would have me be, that I might do what you would have me do. Make my life the most beautiful thing by reminding me who I am. Amen. A year of miracles.
Wow, that was on point.
Yeah, super on point. So I think with that, she just mic dropped. So, I'm not sure if I'll be doing a session on Sunday, but we'll we'll see. We'll see how Sunday looks. But yeah, thank you guys for being here with me this morning, and yeah, thank you. I'll see you guys on Sunday or Wednesday.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Yusuf. Good stuff.